Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria. Please subscribe below so we can be YouTube friends. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the numerology of the day, the one number that every day on the calendar can be reduced to, and how to read that number. Every day of the week, every day of the year is optimal for some activities and not others. So today, I'm going to shed a little bit of light on how you can harness the power of the cosmos in your day-to-day life. If you guys know me, you know I am obsessed with numerology, and for a very, very good reason. The architect of the Matrix, the great creator of our virtual reality that we live in, used numbers to program everything. Used numbers, used equations, and so this is a very mathematically precise universe. As such, dates really matter. Numbers really matter. Numbers tell a story of our greater existence. And I find that as long as we understand what the numbers are telling us, we can be in the flow more often than not. Our lives can be a lot easier to live, and we're going to be faced with a lot fewer impediments in our way, regardless of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Okay. So let's dive right in. So if you guys have watched my numerology videos before, in numerology, you look at numbers 1 through 9 usually when you're trying to forecast anything, when you're trying to look at reality and understand what it means. So every day of the week, every day of the year can be reduced to one single numerical frequency, 1 through 9. Depending on that numerical frequency, the vibration of the day is going to be very different. Things that are optimal to do and not do on that day is going to be very, very different. I find that very often when you dive into the rabbit hole of spirituality, you very often start hearing about people being in the flow versus not being in the flow. And I think that for a lot of people, this is a very nebulous concept. It's very hard to pinpoint what being in the flow is. And very often, the state of flow is described as this state of magnetism where things just flow, they just come your way and you don't have to do anything. I will tell you that there's another perspective to think about the energy of flow and being in the flow. In fact, the way that I perceive flow is this. Flow is understanding the vibration of the greater cosmos and the greater cosmic soup, the happening around you, so that you can adjust your actions, you can adjust your behavior in accordance with those vibrations. Very often, when we're trying to resist the energies that be, we are swimming upstream. And we're facing a lot of headwinds. So the going is really, really hard. If we only were to take a step back and understand that life is not meant to be difficult. In fact, life is meant to be really easy. We just need to understand how to decode it so it can become easy for us. So we can be in the flow instead of swimming upstream all the time. Okay. So here is the deal. When I think about numbers 1 through 9, which is what every single date on the calendar can be reduced to, there are 3 major buckets that these numbers fall into. The first bucket is the masculine or the intellect. The second bucket is the feminine or the heart. And the third bucket is what I refer to as the bucket of alchemy. What this is really is the bucket of creation, transformation, change. So these are the 3 buckets that you have available to you at, all throughout the year. Now, first things first, how do you calculate the date or the number of the day, shall we say, the number of the day? Here's how you calculate it. You take the day of the month, you take the month, so the day, the month, and the year, right? So 3 figures, so to say, need to be factored in. And you add all of the digits. You sum all of the digits up. So for instance, if we're talking about the 3rd of March, 2023, a very random date that I just picked, the date in the past, doesn't really matter. I would add 3 being the 3rd. March is the 3rd month, so it would be 3 plus 3 equals 6. And then I would take the year, 2023, that's 7. So I would add 6 plus 7. I would get a 13. Then I would do 1 plus 3 and equals a 4. So essentially in numerology, you're always adding numbers and then you're collapsing them to a single digit. So the numerology of 3/3/2023 was a 4. I hope I did my math correctly in my head just now. Okay. So I hopefully get the gist. If you guys did not get how to calculate the number of the day, please just drop a question in the comments and I'm happy to clarify. Okay, so using this simple math, you can take any date of the year and understand what is the one number that corresponds to that date. That number is going to be a dead giveaway for what is that day optimal for and what that day is not so great for. Let me make one quick disclaimer. The more I started getting into numerology, the more I started posting videos about like this one, time and time again, I see these comments of people being a little bit skeptical about numerology. And listen, this is a planet of free will. One gets to be skeptical about whatever they choose to be skeptical about. That is not the point. But very often, people who are skeptical about numerology and in general understanding the science behind numbers, they usually say, oh, 1111 is like a bogus number, for instance. And the reason it is bogus is because humanity could have chosen to measure time differently, and therefore 1111 cannot be a cosmic portal. Well, I will tell you not so fast, because once there is a collective agreement around dates, once there is a collective agreement around how humanity measures time, all of a sudden it becomes the law. And as such, the energy, being a very malleable substance, will rearrange itself to be in accordance with that law. And therefore, as long as the vast majority of humanity believes that today is March something of 2023 or April something 2024, it doesn't really matter. It is considered to be true universally, and therefore the energy in our immediate vicinity is going to adjust itself so as to match that frequency, so as to match that vibration. Okay, now that that is out of the way, once you calculate the number of the day, of the numerology of the day, here's what you can do with that information. Again, you can only get numbers 1 through 9. For the numerology of the day, there are no master numbers. There's no 11, there's no 22, there's no 33. Technically, you could calculate master numbers if you wanted to. However, I just find that a day is such a short period of time that very often there's no such thing as a master day. There is no such thing that, usually everything is an additive effect in the matrix, right? It's really, really hard to go from 0 to 100 overnight, right? And therefore there are no master days, if you will. Okay, so numbers 1 through 9 is what you could get once you do the math. And there are 3 buckets. So the first bucket is the bucket of the divine masculine. The bucket of the divine masculine contains 3 numbers: number 1, number 4, and number 7. Divine masculine days are also the days of the intellect. They're the days when your left brain is incredibly active. These are the days where you physically either want to be or you are very active. So it's that masculine moving energy. During days 1, 4, and 7, one thing that you would notice if you start paying attention, right? And it's actually a very, very curious thing for you, for those of you that are really interested in this, to have a journal and just record your moods, and how you feel on the different numbers. And you would notice how your energy shifts and how it is consistently the same or very similar on numbers, on days that are number 1, on days that are number 2, on days that are number 3. There are so many commonalities, it's gonna blow your mind. Okay, so on numbers 1, 4, and 7, our divine masculine really wants to speak through us. So our inner masculine wants to come and meet the divine masculine in the middle. And so we're going to want to be a lot more active. On these days, things that are really good to do are things that have to do with logic, communication, planning things, working on your business, making bold moves in the physical. And especially if you have been feeling a little bit down energetically, or if you've been feeling a little bit tired, the masculine days are the days for forward movement, because masculine energy is the energy of the arrow hitting its target. Those days, days 1, 4, and 7, are incredible for making big strides in the physical. Anything you've been procrastinating on, anything that you felt perhaps you're not cut out for, could really be something that becomes possible for you during these days, especially number 1. So day with a numerology of 1, that is really the revolutionary, the innovator, kind of like somebody who's at the forefront, like these energies, right? So if you really want to have a breakthrough in your career, in your finances, make sure that you're making moves on day with a numerology of 1. 4 is also masculine, but that's slightly different. Days that are 4 are a lot better for planning. which is also the masculine, right? It's also the logic. It is all about creating structure in your life. It is all about, that is the day when you want to set your schedule. The days that are 4 are the days where you want to make big plans and aspirations. So dream big, have an audacious goal. That's a really, really good, really potent day for goal setting, actually. 4s are also amazing, if you want to incorporate your business or start something new, again, with like a financial basis to it, right? So 4 is amazing for building things that will last. The energy of the 7 is terrific. It's also very masculine, but the energy of the 7 is when intuition meets action. And that's why I like to call 7s the day of aligned action. So when something really feels good inside, when you really feel like you are acting in accordance with your purpose, with your mission, with your skill set, with your personal talents, because 7 is also the number of talent, like your innate ability around something. 7 is really good to put yourself out there in the world as it relates to your special talent or your mission in life or your purpose. And again, if you felt held back around a particular part or side of your mission, day number 7 is amazing, you guys, to break out of, like a vicious cycle and just go for it. You would also notice that during days 1, 4, and 7, your energy, your personal energy is going to feel very different. It's going to feel, you're going to be energized by action, not drained by action, if that makes sense. The reason being is because if you think about flow is the river, the flow of energy, right? So energy is forward moving in that day. In fact, so in order for you to be in the flow, you need to be moving with the energy, right? You need to be making moves, right? So then you move in unison. If you do the reverse, if you choose on that day to stay back, just be, just relax, don't make any moves, then you're going to be swimming against the stream of the happening. And that is going to be challenging for you. That is what's going to be draining, right? So if you want to seize the moment and if you want to optimize for your happiness levels, be active, make big moves during days 1, 4, and 7. Okay, that's the first bucket. Second bucket is the bucket of the heart, the bucket of the Divine Mother. Such a beautiful bucket. These are numbers 2, 5, and 8. 2, 5, and 8. Okay. Very different energies. Oh my gosh. If you were trying to be overactive or, very intellectual or, deliver a speech or study for your exams during these days, you're going to feel like you're hitting a wall a little bit. And in fact, being too much out there during days 2, 5, and 8, being overly active, it's going to feel draining to you. So instead, days 2, 5, and 8 are about replenishing your resource, are about filling your own cup and doing things that are pleasurable to you, doing things that are nurturing for you, prioritizing your well-being, prioritizing your sanity in some ways, right? Treating yourself. All of these things are amazing for days 2, 5, and 8. Also, the feminine energy, the energy of the heart, is very beautiful for artistic hobbies. Singing, dancing, painting, poetry, any of those. It's wonderful for relationships, building relationships, nurturing relationships, going out with your friends, having meaningful conversations with people, building conscious tribes, you name it. These are the days to stay heart-centered, right? And again, one of the most depleting things that society does, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is trying to be overly active on days that are 2, 5, and 8. Big no. Like, honestly, if you're a creator in whatever field, I guess I really shouldn't be saying that. If you're trying to do something masculine on a feminine day, you are going to be hit with such massive resistance that it's almost not worth it. You're better off just letting your system relax and, let go. What is the difference between 2, 5, and 8? Really, really quickly. 2 is the number of relationships. It's the dichotomy. It's usually the black and white. So it's either the balancing act, usually, or the number of relationships. So allow yourself to really have a nurturing conversation or something around relationships on the day that's 2. Also, if, let's say you're in a situation where there is there isn't a supportive relationship in your life, then become that relationship for yourself, right? So dive deeper into yourself, try to understand yourself deeper, and try to meet your own needs, fill your own cup. Don't wait for the world to do that. That's for 2. Day 5 is all about harmony and beauty. That's the day of Venus. So harmonizing, beautifying your space, your apartment, buying yourself flowers, dressing up potentially, if that's your thing, all of those things are amazing for the energies of Venus. Heart-centered creation is amazing for the energies of Venus as well. So for 5 and days that are 8, 5 and 8 are beautiful days for creation from the heart. Whatever that is. Like if you have a passion project, if you have a side hustle, and maybe hustle is the wrong word here, but like if you do something that is for pleasure, or maybe making you money, but it's not like your day-to-day, your 9 to 5, days like 5 and 8 could be really, really good for that. Okay, so that is the feminine, right? And again, remember, masculine is all about action. The feminine is all about receptivity. It's all about listening. It's all about tuning in. Tune into your guides on these days. You will notice, by the way, that during 2, 5, and 8, your connection with the spirit guides, with the Divine Mother is terrific. These days are amazing to connect with nature. Not that there are bad days to connect with nature, but you will notice that nature really replenishes you during days 2, 5, and 8. Alrighty, third bucket is the alchemical bucket. Alchemy is essentially 1 + 1 = 10,000. Don't quote me on this formula. Hopefully you catch my drift. If you think about it, let me take a step back and explain what alchemical numbers are. In numerology, I call numbers 6, 3, and 9, or shall I say 3, 6, and 9, the alchemical numbers. Why? Because these are the numbers where they're almost like the divine children. So when the masculine and the feminine come together to create something, you get the alchemical numbers. So if 1 was masculine, 2 was feminine, 1 + 2 = 3. That is your first alchemical number. And all the alchemical numbers are divine children. So they are the byproduct of your masculine and your feminine coming together into one cohesive whole, into one integral story, so that you can make something happen. What are these days? Alchemical days are extremely potent. They're very transformative. They are magical. They are non-linear. They are exponential. They are all about diving deep. They're all about, finding that inner resource and staying true to who you are. But more specifically, what are these days great for? Any kind of creation. So making something out of nothing, really good. Whether you're making a meal, not that you get to not eat on any other day, or if you are, again, a writer, a poet, you're making YouTube videos like this one, you will find that alchemical days are really, really good for creating anything. Usually alchemical days are really good for transformation, and that is why they bring about true change if you really want to. So for instance, if you're doing shadow work, plan it on an alchemical day, and you will thank me later, because any type of meditation, transformation, shadow work is going to be amplified during the alchemical days, because the magic is really, really strong. It is also a little bit like energetically, alchemical days are a little bit more neutral days compared to the masculine and the feminine, because they contain both energies. And so on alchemical days, you have a lot more freedom to do what it is that you want to do. They are a lot less prescriptive, because masculine and feminine energies are very, very prescriptive. They're the two polarities, right? One is not the other. Whereas within the alchemical days, you get to be whatever, right? So they're very flexible days. They're very fluid days. I will tell you this. 6 is a very tricky number. 6 is a number of karma. And although it is an alchemical day, usually you would find that action that is most connected to your karma, most connected to your dharma, most connected to your life purpose, is going to feel most aligned to you during the days that are number 6. Things that are trying to fall away. Let's say that, there is a relationship that no longer resonates with you. There, like a job that is trying to fall away. During days number 6, you're going to find yourself you're going to find it really, really hard to hold on to things that are no longer meant to be in your life, right? Which is actually, what does this tell us? This is a day for releasing. This is a day for letting go. This is the day for clearing your vessel, because through a clean vessel, something new that is in your best interest can come through. When your cup is already full with something that doesn't serve you, nothing else can come through. So pay attention to six, because it is usually like the things that are going to feel the best to you are either releasing, letting go, shedding your skin, or being on your path, asking the right questions, getting the right answers. Also really good for insights, by the way. And then for 9, the master number of alchemy, making big moves, right? That is for bold decisions. That is for goal setting where you have big goals. And but at the same time, like if for instance, when you're setting a goal on day that is a 4, because I told you that was also for goal setting. 4, because it's masculine goal setting, you almost need a plan of how you're going to get there, right? That is what the 4 and the masculine energies love. 9 doesn't have such constraints. Like, so if you're setting for yourself a goal that's bigger than life, do it on the numerology, on the day that is a 9, and you'll thank me later, because the 9 is such an alchemical number that it just brings the energy of the universe. Like it's almost like it creates a vortex around your wishes, desires, and dreams, and it's going to enable those dreams to manifest much faster. I wanted to give you a really, really quick example from my own life around the things that I do so that you can understand how how you can quickly apply these principles. I do a lot in life. I am pretty busy. I run my own business, which is more than a full-time job. And creating content for you is a hobby for me. And I've been noticing, right, that given how much I have going on in my life, I have to be extremely intentional with what I do when, so that my cup is always full. And so I can keep showing up for you during my after hours and showing up consistently and showing up for years and showing up across podcasts, because, I do a lot of things. And I've noticed that, there was a time in my life where I was starting to get drained until I started applying this number of the day. Oh my God, you guys, it's a game changer. Honestly, like you'll thank me later if you start practicing this, right? Here's what I do. On days that are masculine, I record content like this one. So it's really good for me for YouTube videos and my podcast called Conversations with My Higher Self, if you guys have seen that, because that is all about communicating with my mind, right? I am teaching concepts. As such, I have to, my left side of the brain needs to be very, very active. It's logical. I have to give examples. I have to be deliberate. I have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Intentional around where I'm going. And, the energy that is being used up in this process is masculine. So my forward moving masculine energy is really, really good for these videos. So I have found that if I record these videos on days 1, 7, and 4, it is so easy for me. It is so seamless, and I don't use up energy. In fact, I feel energized by this process. If I try to record these videos on a feminine day, I am drained, you guys. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? What is good for my feminine days? Sometimes my body needs to readjust and just relax. That's what I do on feminine days. Sometimes on feminine days, what wants to come through me is a meditation, a guided meditation. What I record for Our Sacred Universe is such a heart-filled space. And I do that usually when I'm very much in touch with my own feminine side and with the Divine Mother. And I find that if I align my guided meditations during days that are 2, 5, and 8, they flow better. They're just so good. And I can just enjoy the process as opposed to pushing through the process, if that makes sense. And then on days 3, 6, and 9, I usually work on my book, which is coming right up. But because that is my creation, that is my baby, that is like a project, right? That is long term. I find that where I'm most energized to work on my book are the days 3, 6, and 9. That's a karmic book for me as well. That's why it also works on, during day 6. And I've also found that flow is not about being on all the time. Flow is not about being off all the time. Flow is being in the flow, is being in touch with where the rest of the universe is, well, where the rest of the collective is. So you can just navigate the water so much seamlessly by just, going in the direction that everything else is going, instead of like pushing back and being like, well, no, actually, I know better, right? There is a reason why these numbers were, put in front of us. As long as we are able to start reading the little tips and tricks from the universe, little signs, I think we can live a much better, easier life. Please let me know in the comments if this resonates. Let me know if you've already been trying this technique, or if not, I'm really curious to see your feedback once you actually start implementing it. Alrighty, my loves, I'm sending you a big virtual hug, and I'll see you in the next one.